Here's a variety of little videos I'll put together showing where I got to on the Thursday of the second week. So a view from the inside of the loft, just looking out just prior to the final bits of membrane going on, and then looking round the loft. I've got tiles galore, a place for everything and everything in its place. It needs a bit of a clean up, to be honest with you, but very shortly those tiles will be back on the roof, and the batten will then be stored somewhere dry, and the batten I will use as kindling for when I start to burn in the winter. With it being very, very dry, very, very old wood, it's perfect for starting a fire in the wood burner, and there's tons of it, so that's good. And any of the old timbers that are just completely unusable, they'll end up being burnt as well to provide heat throughout the winter. So everything gets used with Michael. Lovely day as ever. I've been very, very kind with the weather's been very, very kind to me. I've had a little bit of rain one day, no more than about 10-15 minutes. It wasn't particularly heavy. So obviously the sun shines on the righteous, as they say, and I'm profiting from the good weather. This is going to be this side of the loft is going to be where the staircase would come in up and into the room, and hopefully I'll be able to get a bedroom and a shower room within this space as well. And the area that's slightly lower there, that will be part of the vaulted ceiling of the kitchen. So all that lot there will be removed, and you create more height in the kitchen, and which create hopefully a lot more light coming into the kitchen, and looking to make some sort of glazed partition between the two. And then here, just put some of the old batten up just to close up a gap. Now that will have some sort of plasterboarding or whatever against it, so it won't be seen. That's the partition between myself and my neighbour. Most of the walls I'd like to do in sort of the cob style, where you've got the timbers are exposed, and it's a mixture of the straw and lime mortar between. I just think it might be quite interesting because it is a very old property, and I don't want to have everything sort of plasterboarded and looking new and modern. It'd be nice to. You can modernise the area with the bits that you put into it. You don't need to have the walls all just plasterboarded. It's a bit boring, to be honest with you. So here's some of the ridge tiles that came off. Quite a few of them are damaged, so I'll be looking on the Bon Coin to replace somewhere in around about 8 or 9. I would need. They're easy. They're very easy to locate, because obviously there's hundreds and hundreds of these roofs were done at the time, and lots of people renovate and change the roofs. So, and then you always have some spare ones lying around. They're costing around about €4 or €5 per ridge tile, which isn't too bad. There you can see my trestles are still in place there, which helped me to get up right up to the top of the roof from the inside. And then just looking at this big side wall. So this side wall is around about 45 centimetres wide or 18 inches wide. The house is sort of a oak timber framed, and then what they've done is they've infilled with mainly, it looks like flint and other stone that obviously would be local to the area, and then they do a mix of what they call torchie, which is what we might call cob. That's a mixture of soil, lime mortar, and hay, and they sort of put all that, and amazingly it sort of lasts for decades. So there you can see there's a lot of flint exposed there. And there's a slight curiosity when you step back from the wall a little bit. There's like a line running down. So it makes me wonder whether at one time the house at the rear was sort of added on, and that originally the cottage was a wee bit smaller than it was now. That it just contained. You can I don't know if you can see particularly well or not there. You can kind of see bare flint on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side you've kind of got a diagonal line running down. And it just makes me wonder whether at some stage, like I say, there wasn't the rear that is currently there. Anyway, I digress. Here we're looking at the actual ridge tiles while they were in place. Obviously, tons of moss on them, and this quite nice feature that the French do, where they create a little screed over the top of, well, between the joints, sort of a raised bit of sand and cement mortar, which is quite nice. When you look at the profile, it looks like a little fortress. And then just looking down from on high at all my batten, like I said, there's quite a few of these that are damaged and will need to be replaced. And there was the ivy as it was, where you couldn't see the chimney stack at all. It was just completely covered in ivy. Glad to see that gone now. What else have we got? So this is like the final view of the Thursday, how far I'd got. So the left-hand side is battened up, and the right-hand side is left about 2 meters, or just shy of 2 meters, around about 6 foot of tiling that needs to be taken off, so that I can get the rest of the membrane and the batten up right up over that top area, and that way then this rear roof at least is sort of watertight even before the tiles go on, which is nice. Considering how many holes in that there were in it before, and how many damaged rafters there were that sort of collapsed. And so here you are, we're back at the top. So you just slightly overlap the top membrane, so it goes over, and then when I do the front roof, obviously that the membrane that comes up will then tuck in underneath that, and that gives you a nice cover over the lot, over the entire roof. Be a little bit of rendering need redoing to the chimney, and then I've got my little posier flowers there in the pot, which I've taken out now. But yeah, this is all good. This is all good. So front side, and then we'll pan round. We'll look at a little bit down there. You can see my steps, that's still in place. The bordel, which is the garden at the bottom, and then the field at the right, which is the other side of the barn, which is for sale, and the barn on the right-hand side, which has the roof, which looks a lot tidier. And you can see the sort of red bricks that have been put in there. That's the bit of barn that is for sale. And so I'm still waiting to hear a price on that, but that might be quite an interesting thing to purchase. So yeah, final views of this, and after this, there's quite a nice little. There's just a little snippet of a video I've got. There's a couple of swallows that have taken to flying into the house because the windows are open all the time and perching on the windows. So I'm going to leave you now, say thanks for watching, and let you hear the sounds of the swallows. Okay, bye for now.